Welcome to the Wow MD podcast, where in each episode, you will get in 30 minutes or less valuable pearls about holistic wellness, anti-aging, hormone therapies, beauty trends, and other facts you should know about our medical healthcare system and your health that no one is telling you. My name is Dr. Mirala Cernăianu. I am a conventional board-certified OBGYN physician who, after the loss of my father due to a careless and uncaring medical team, decided to retrain and seek certification in anti-aging and restorative therapies. What I know, I am happy to share with you. Hello, listener. Welcome to the Wellness Optimizing Warrior MD podcast episode. And today's topic is about hormone therapy optimization. Now, why did I decide to do a podcast episode on this topic? Well, there's actually going to be part 1 and part 2 is next week. There's quite a little bit to say about this as it's a new and novel concept and it's a little complicated and maybe very, very important for a lot of people, especially as women are in menopause and they seek hormone therapy. And we realize as we age that anti-aging is really, really important. And quite a few voices in the online world and the hormone world are talking more and more about hormone optimization. You might have heard other doctors speak on it in other podcasts. You might have heard the term mentioned, but you might not know what it means. So to be frank and honest with you, this is a new concept. Like I said, I didn't really hear or consider this term until about 2023 when I heard my first introduction to BioT, the pellet therapy organization. So I would like to tell you today what I know and why I believe every woman entering perimenopause and menopause and any woman beyond menopause years who is considering hormone therapy should really know what hormone optimization means. Today's podcast is a discussion on the subject of hormone optimization and how hormone optimization is different than hormone therapy. This got triggered by me listening to a sales pitch from a non-practicing physician who was selling a course. I don't even know how it landed into my inbox, to be honest, but it seemed interesting. So I listened to a lot of things when I walked the dog, so I clicked on it. Now, this physician was retired. He was not practicing. He was selling this course that was meant to educate the public, because once I listened to him, I went and looked him up to see what he's doing. And that's what I found out. And this course is about educating men and women specifically about hormone optimization and instructing them on the fact that he clearly will not provide the hormone optimization himself, but he will give them the tools to understand hormone optimization while helping the course buyers select the provider who is practicing hormone optimization close to their area. I immediately thought, wow, what a way to capitalize on knowledge regarding hormone balance, put that knowledge in a sellable format, and just wait for people to buy your product. Well, obviously, you have to do some work. You have to market it, get in front of people. It doesn't take a whole lot of effort. And now with everybody being online, you don't really have to work hard for that. It doesn't take a lot of effort. It doesn't have liability. It doesn't have responsibility. It's just generating revenue if it sells. But what I liked from his 20-minute presentation was his analogy of menopause hormone therapy with a DIY, a do-it-yourself project at home. He used the wood floor restoration at his home as an example. Apparently, he had 100-year-old oak wood floors that needed to be restored. He said he could have bought the device for sanding and sanded the floors himself for a cost of about $400. He would have needed to pay just for materials. He would have been the one providing all the labor. So labor is expensive, right? And he might have needed to rent the sander machine, right? Instead, he decided he loved his floors. They were highly valuable to him. He wanted to not only preserve the quality, but make his floors shine and restore them to their original luster. His floors looked beautiful, but they were old. And he decided he needed an expert. So he hired one. His cost was a few $1,000s, clearly 10 times more than what he could have gotten away with if he did it himself. But at the end, he loved the work the expert did. He loved the outcome. His floors were exactly what he wanted and what he envisioned. So what does this DIY analogy have to do with hormone therapy, you might ask? Because I thought the same myself as I listened to him, but it clicked pretty quickly for me because I knew where he was going. He likened the use of the estradiol patch combined with oral progesterone, which millions of women use today, to a DIY hormone therapy project. And he really got my attention when he got to that point because I agreed. But how do you explain to the patient who's in front of you and says, I just want to use whatever my insurance covers. I want my hot flashes to go away. Please write me a prescription for the patch. How do you explain to her that this type of therapy is in no way, shape, or form actually optimizing her hormones? So this retired doctor was right in using the analogy of the patch and the oral progesterone with a DIY project. Why, you might ask? Well, because without any intent to discourage women by using the FDA-approved estradiol patches, the truth is that the estradiol patch comes in 5 available doses. And the progesterone micronized gel caps that are also covered by insurance are only available in 100 or 200 milligram, 2 doses. There are only 10 possible combinations between the 5 patches and the 2 doses of progesterone. Do you honestly believe that these 10 possible combinations would seriously optimize the hormone balance of the millions of women who are literally individually unique and want and are using hormone therapy? The answer is obviously no. I've said this before many, many times, and I'll say it again in today's episode. Any estrogen in any form will help resolve hot flashes. And here's the thing. As hot flashes are one of the key symptoms, creating suffering and poor quality of life for women in perimenopause, menopause, and many years beyond menopause, sometimes a decade or more, addressing hot flashes with the patch or the cream or the gel will create significant improvement. The message of this podcast episode, as is the message of the other hormone experts, is this. Alleviating your hot flashes and improving quality of life due to subsequent improved sleep, better energy, better mental clarity does not equal hormone optimization. Well, how come, doctor? Please explain. Let me explain. Hot flashes are something terrible to endure for many women. There are some lucky women who have not had horrible hot flashes. I am one of them. That was never my problem. Okay. And again, even though there's a significant percentage of women who do not and did not suffer from these terrible hot flashes, the majority of women who have hot flashes endure terrible suffering. The sudden surge in heat throughout the face and in the body, the sensation of being on fire with the anxiety that accompanies it are extremely distressing to any woman who experiences hot flashes. And hot flashes are not just distressing. They wake women up at night, disturbing their sleep. The sleep disturbance is unfortunately persistent and will lead to eventually significant disruptions in a woman's sleep pattern, which will have an extremely serious impact and very negative consequences for her health, for her mood and mental clarity, as well as the risk of cognitive decline as she ages if the sleep disturbance becomes long-term, persistent, and permanent. Now, the poor sleep will lead to serious and significant fatigue. Many women who have disrupted sleep due to hot flashes do not wake up refreshed. They wake up tired with the feeling of being hungover, but there was no party the night before. Due to the lack of sleep and the fatigue caused by the lack of sleep, women are more likely to be irritable during the day. Wouldn't you be? Yes. They might make poor decisions. They would be snapping at family, friends, and colleagues, probably jeopardizing relationships and their careers. If a woman has poor sleep and she is troubled by anxiety-provoking hot flashes all day long and all night long, if she is tired, how do you think her mental clarity will be? Not good. Her attention span will be diminished, her ability to focus and keep track of tasks will be seriously impaired, and her memory will suffer. Her ability to make new memories is impaired. Many women in this situation suffer such severe cognitive decline, they actually become afraid they're losing their mind. And they worry that what they're experiencing is the beginning of dementia. It is so severe and so distressing. It is not dementia. It is just a show and tell of how impactful the loss of estrogen is in their bodies and specifically in their brain. It is also a show and tell about how health disrupting, not just distressing, the vasomotor symptoms of menopause, known as hot flashes, can be. So here's my argument. Using any form of estrogen will improve the hot flashes. Like a beautiful snowball rolling down the hill, the positive impact of no more hot flashes is absolutely something amazing to behold. The women are so grateful because when their hot flashes are gone, they are 90% better, their sleep improves, they will be less tired and less irritable, and will notice an improvement in their mental clarity. So they no longer have to worry about early dementia. Here is the key message. After I painted this, ugly picture from hot flashes and then the beautiful relief that women can get with estrogen, the key message is not to mistake this dramatic improvement from hot flashes resolution with hormone optimization, because it isn't hormone optimization. So what exactly does hormone optimization mean? Well, guess what? There's no absolute definition, standard of care for hormone optimization. So I'm going to try and keep it very, very simple. Optimization literally means aiming for optimal functional levels for peak performance and well-being. I'm going to repeat it one more time. Optimization means aiming for optimal functional levels for peak performance and well-being. Meaning, I'm not just going to get rid of your hot flashes for you. I am going to help you live your life and feel and look in your body the way you did in your 30s and early 40s. Now, hormone therapy in the form of basic, simple replacement will just focus on merely replacing what was deficient to alleviate severe deficiency symptoms, sometimes with hormones, sometimes with medications, sometimes with bioidentical hormones, more natural or synthetic. Again, the term optimization is a very new term. And as it turns out, it is a term born out of necessity. It has become very clear that the 10 possible combinations afforded by the estradiol patch and oral progesterone, which again is the most commonly prescribed therapy for women in menopause, even the rarely used estradiol daily gel, which is FDA approved, combined with progesterone, all these are not coming anywhere close to providing meaningful relief to the large majority of women that suffer through menopause and the decades beyond menopause, in the sense that their well-being is not at the level it was 2 decades before menopause, simply with the patch or the gel and the progesterone. I clearly remember the first time I heard the term hormone optimization. It was a few years ago in 2023 when I attended my BioT training. This training, even though I thought I knew everything there was to know about pellets, right? They insisted I go to this training, and I didn't regret it. It was a 2-day training, all day, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Saturday and Sunday. So luckily I didn't have to miss out on any time at the office. But what was extremely interesting to me and attracted me to the organization was the fact that the training was all inclusive of thyroid management, testosterone management, adrenal balance, insulin resistance. It touched on quite a few of the aging, disabling conditions women suffer as they age, like migraine, headaches, arthritis, cardiovascular disease, and osteoporosis. I was very excited to hear a reputable company promote teaching overall wellness with hormone balance with optimization at its core. It validated my beliefs and what I was already doing, and because of that, I agreed to embrace BioT and what they offered and incorporate it into my practice. Long story short, after I attended this BioT training, it was very clear to me I was already practicing hormone optimization. I didn't know it was hormone optimization per se, because when I practice hormone therapy, I always keep in mind the fact that the comprehensive care of a menopausal and postmenopausal patient, including the perimenopause years, needs to be inclusive of all of the factors involved in aging. And yes, a hormone imbalance and severe deficiency in estrogen, testosterone, and progesterone is highly typical for these periods in a woman's life. But it is not the one and only thing that happens to a woman's body as she ages and advances further and further away from perimenopause and menopause. There are many other changes which unfortunately are left unaddressed and completely ignored by the majority of the medical professionals who supposedly manage hormone therapy for menopause. That is why I firmly believe menopause management should really be a specialty in as of itself. And we might actually see that happening in the next 20 years, because this is such a complex approach to maintaining and optimizing well-being for a woman after menopause as she ages. It takes such vast amounts of knowledge, not just a prescription for patch and oral progesterone. And hey, I'll see you next year. Tell me if you have any problems. To make it clear, hormone optimization is not equal to hormone replacement, and hormone replacement is not equal to hormone optimization. Because hormone optimization is not just hormone therapy in the form of a patch or a cream or a gel, even a pellet combined with some progesterone. If the doctor or the provider is simply addressing estrogen deficiency, and most of the time does it incompletely while ignoring testosterone deficiency, ignoring insulin resistance, ignoring cortisol ups and downs, ignoring optimal required thyroid function, ignoring possible growth hormone deficiency, ignoring inflammation, and ignoring digestive health and metabolic markers, this is actually a very shady, incomplete approach to a woman's real problems, which are happening due to the loss of ovarian function at menopause, but also due to aging. Hormone optimization means looking at the body as a whole, head to toe, inside and out, and addressing comprehensively all hormones and all systems in the woman's body, as well as the other outside, extrinsic or intrinsic factors which contribute to various hormone deficiencies, excesses, or imbalances. Now, this requires some expertise and training in menopause therapy and hormone therapy, maybe some restorative medicine principles and some degree of functional and integrative medicine principles. If your doctor prescribes the estrogen patch and the oral progesterone to go along with the estrogen patch, remember, that does not mean your hormones are optimized. Far from it. If you decide that this is all you're going to do to address your perimenopause, your menopause, or the decades beyond menopause, please be aware that you will be far from being optimized. You will be far from aging well with the ability to maintain strength, stamina, endurance, cognition, cardiovascular well-being, as well as bone and joint health and muscular mass well into your 8th and maybe 9th decade of your life. Hormone optimization means you are willing to invest in additional testing and additional treatments on top of slapping on a patch and taking a pill and calling it hormone therapy. Everyone wants to age well and optimally. We work hard most of our lives to be told it is important to save for our retirement because retire we must. We expect that we will all get tired and forgetful and unable to physically withstand the labors of day-to-day grind on the body that any job demands. Even a sedentary job, but especially one that demands physicality, like plumbers, car mechanics, hairdressers, just to name a few. The office jobs involving various computer skills or online and other forms of verbal communication constantly do also require mental and emotional endurance due to the daily stress imposed on our brains. The prolonged sitting is taking a toll on any aging body, and as arthritis sets in with aches and pains, obviously the ability to stay put in the same position for long periods of time will diminish. Or if you force it, it will happen with consequences like stiffness and pain and all kinds of other things. Here's the thing. No one has time to think and plan ahead for how to preserve their health as they age. I agree we are all caught up in the day-to-day grind, and time and energy is stolen every day from us, from taking care of ourselves, day by day, little by little. Most people I know and I talk to sometimes say, I can hardly wait to retire. Well, what if we had the energy, the desire, the strong will, as well as the body fitness that is required to continue working? And what if we don't really have to retire and we can remain productive well into our 70s? Obviously, you would have to love your job, your profession. You must really have a reason to keep going and feel driven by a purpose that is meaningful to you in order to even envision something like that. Is that impossible? Not at all. What is at the core of it and what would be the key to obtain that? Hey, you already knew the answer. Hormone optimization. I will continue my discussion on hormone optimization next week, as I will discuss optimizing hormone levels is not just alleviating symptoms, some thoughts and musings around what are the best medical providers that are qualified to manage hormone optimization. So please come back, as I'm very excited to continue this topic, and I have more for you next week. Thank you for trusting me with your time, and thank you for listening to today's episode. If the content I provided wowed you, was helpful and valuable to either you or someone close to you, please do me a favor and leave me a review. I am very open and welcome any kind of feedback as well as suggestions on any content ideas, so please forward those suggestions to Jessica, my patient care coordinator, through our website, herabeautyandwellness.com. And I look forward to our time together next episode.